Here we go again. So, having a look on the Federal Register of Legislation, Pauline, we've come to the Criminal Code 1995, Pauline. We've gone to Subdivision B, Treason, Section 80.1, Treason. Have a look at this very clearly, Pauline. I'm just going to define it along the way. Okay? 80.1, Treason. 1. A person commits an offence if the person A, B, C, D, G. Where's the EF? Why would a government remove certain clauses in relation to treason if it was being honest? That's step number 1. A person commits an offence if the person causes the death of the sovereign, the heir apparent of the sovereign, the consort of the sovereign, the Governor-General, or the Prime Minister, or. So we'll start by a curial right so defined on the Supreme Court record linked to the Crimes Act 1900, New South Wales, Pauline. B. Causes harm to the sovereign, the Governor-General, or the Prime Minister, resulting in the death of the sovereign, the Governor-General, or the Prime Minister. So, again, we come to the Crimes Act 1900, New South Wales, and things that have been defined on the court record before Justice Lonergan in the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Forgoing all of that, we move on. C. Causes harm to the sovereign, the Governor-General, or the Prime Minister, or imprisons or restrains the sovereign, the Governor-General, or the Prime Minister, or. D. Levies war or does any act preparatory to levying war against the Commonwealth. Lydia is very starkly, clearly on video before the entire world shouting out, "This is war!" You can't deny this, Pauline. 80.1, 1D. Levies war or does any act preparatory to levying war against the Commonwealth. That is the exact thing that Lydia did on a stage in front of a whole audience on TV. The evidence is very clear, regardless of the stuffing around with the oath and the mockery that happened in the Parliament and your very own Senate, Pauline. This woman committed a direct act of treason in relation to the Criminal Code 1995. 80.1, Treason, 1G. Instigates a person who is not an Australian citizen to make an armed invasion of the Commonwealth or a territory of the Commonwealth. Now, if she's instigating Aborigine who proclaim not to be citizens, that would be instigating a person who is not an Australian citizen. Now, are all these Aborigine Australian citizens, Pauline, or are some of them not an independent and non-state? I know that some of these people exist, Pauline, so that would be instigating a person who is not an Australian citizen to make an invasion of the Commonwealth. These are very direct accusations against Lydia, Pauline. Subdivision B, treason. Again, the wind agrees with me. 80.1, treason. 1D, levies war or does any act preparatory to levying war. This is war! Penalty: imprisonment for life, Pauline. Imprisonment for life, Pauline. This is very real stuff that you failed to address. I think all of you politicians are very inept children when you walk into this parliament and you argue all of this nonsensical stuff in front of a country that's had enough of a bunch of children nannying their estate. You've been wasting our money, you've been ripping us off, you've been stealing our funds, you've been manipulating our constitution, and we've had enough of it, Pauline. At some point the AFP has to move in. 80.1, 1D, levies war or doesn't act preparatory to levying war. And at some point, Pauline, you have to step in. It's your responsibility as a senator to keep this Commonwealth to check. And you're not doing that, are you? You simply aren't doing that, are you? So I call upon the Governor-General to remove the entire Senate. The entire Senate, Governor-General. Remove all of them. This is a direct failure of their duties before the Crown. They took oaths to this stuff to be in office, Governor-General, and the gig's up. Remove the entire Senate. This is a joke. Should have brought this up the moment she was on the TV levying war against the Commonwealth. You should have brought this up the moment that a Victorian senator was levying war against Victorians. You should have brought this up the moment it happened, Governor-General, but you failed. Is it a failure in your office? Is it a gross negligence on your behalf, akin to the gross negligence of the New South Wales Police Commissioner? We carry on. 2. A person commits an offence if the person receives or assists another person who, to his or her knowledge, has committed an offence against this subdivision other than this subsection. What that means is, Pauline, that Albo has been assisting a group of people that committed an act of treason against 1D of the Criminal Code 1995 against the Constitution, Pauline. Snappity snap, time to wake up. 2. B. Knowing that another person intends to commit an offence against this subdivision other than this subsection does not inform a constable of it within a reasonable time or use other reasonable endeavours to prevent the commission of the offence. Penalty: imprisonment for life, Pauline. Albo has just done this himself. Half of your sitting House of Representatives is doing this right now. And you, as the Senate, have failed to keep them to account. Now, we could go to the Accountabilities Acts and look at their failures to government and non-government entities and their failures to report. But this is a direct levying of war, or preparing to do so, Pauline. This is an outward spoken message in direct relation. See the wind degrees again, Pauline. King Vere Casement 1917. You cannot get around this stuff. 80.1. 8. So we've lost 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the legislation, and this, people, is the Criminal Code Act 1995. It is a military codified version of your Crimes Act by occupying power. If you were a de jure people, you wouldn't have a codified act. You would have the Crimes Act. Okay, so it is direct demonstration that they like to manipulate the legislation to benefit and suit themselves, going against the Crown and the people. Okay? Constable means a member or special member of the Australian Federal Police, or a member of the police force or police service of a state or territory. And now we have a contradiction here, Pauline, in that your states refuse to deal with this. And then when we report this to the AFP, they have refused to deal with this. in cahoots with each other against the criminal code, which is your own law. Gigs up. Do you understand this, Pauline? We are this angry as a people that the people out here in the country really considering murdering each other over all the shit that you've created in the parliament. And I think that's what you want as politicians, so you can keep nannying their stupid asses. But you can't keep doing that if you break your own laws. So I'd like to see the Australian Federal Police move on Lydia by tonight. I'd like to see Albo pulled his head in by the Australian Federal Police by tonight. There's your last warnings, Pauline. You're a senator. I'm calling on the Governor-General to ensure that the Senate deals with these problems or removes them entirely. Dutton, I'm asking you to push for a double dissolution election by tonight. These things can't happen much longer. They must end. You are breaking criminal code. You are breaking Crimes Act. You are going against the very Constitution itself, and it must end. The Australian Federal Police must step in. The Australian Federal Police must arrest Lydia. The Australian Federal Police must go and discuss this with the Prime Minister. Governor-General, you have a serious problem on your hands coming forward. You know the people are pissed off. You know this is very real. You know that treason's been committed in front of all the people, and it's now up to you to deal with it by tonight.